Welcome to your northbound flight on the Emirates Air Line. On your journey you'll be surrounded by unique views and some of London's great untold stories. Here's just a few of the sights and discoveries that await you in this fascinating area of London. The Emirates Air Line is the latest way to cross the Thames. Rising to 90 metres at its peak, it's also the highest. But in 1843, hidden from view just beyond the buildings of Canary Wharf, a Thames crossing opened that was 23 metres below the river's surface.
We are now sitting in the grand entrance hall to the 8th wonder of the world. This is Isambard Kingdom Brunel's first project. It's the first tunnel under a river anywhere in the world. And today, it is the oldest tunnel in the London Underground. It opened in 1843 as a pedestrian tunnel. And you have to remember, the idea of walking under a river the size of the Thames is like walking on the moon. And on the first day, there are 50,000 visitors. And the band of the Coldstream Guards made patriotic music. In its day, this was the world's most successful visitor attraction. What Brunel did here, he created a cage for the miners to work in. This is the worst job in the world. They are showered in sewage, but they only work 2-hour shifts. They collapse after 2 hours, and they're carried out, and they're replaced by men who are still breathing. That's pretty much what they do even today. This principle has simply been automated. Brunel had miners, whereas Crossrail have tunnel boring machines. Brunel had bricklayers. Crossrail has precast concrete sections. This is the birthplace of the tube.
Looking east away from the city, you can see another impressive feat of British engineering, the Thames Barrier. It's one of the largest movable flood barriers in the world and has been protecting London for more than 30 years.
The original design criteria was to protect against the 1 in 1,000 floods in the year 2030. So they used the data they had available, they projected that into the future, and they built extra safety margins in, so it looks like we'll be okay until 2070. The barrier is composed of 2 gates, the largest of which is 3,400 tons, approximately a third of an Eiffel Tower's worth of metal in each one, and they rotate into position. The barrier protects against an area of land with about 1.25 million people. If you're walking along the south bank, if you can imagine another 3.5 metres of concrete obstructing your view, that's what the barrier protects against.
The Port of London has been a centre for trade since Roman times. By the 1800s it was the busiest port in the world, and a series of huge enclosed docks were built, surrounded by high walls, to protect cargo from thieves and pirates. The docks stretch from Tower Bridge to City Airport, and the Museum of London Docklands is preserving the history of this crucial trading hub.
The building we're sitting in was built in 1802. When it was built, it was the biggest warehouse in the world. The Romans first settled on the Thames, and obviously the Vikings came after the Romans. And all throughout history, there's always been lots and lots of trade. There was loads and loads of privacy. In actual fact, there's a gibbet cage. And there wasn't executed in the gibbet cage. You was hung, and then you would have been cut down, and then you would have been put into the gibbet cage. And there was accounts of 4 to 5 bodies hanging right on the foreship. So as the shipping were coming in, they was like, "Be telling you behave yourself, right? Otherwise this is going to happen to you." Whereas it's played a very important part in the war, because if you look at the infrastructure, then you can't start the nation out. Now you can imagine the ferocity of bombing, and sometimes you get the sugar going up and catching light, and then at the very end of the buildings you had the rum going up and catching light, and it would actually make slab on top of it. All the children would be around the following morning scooping it up and taking it home. You can come to this area, you can walk around and you can see where all these things happen.
The East End docks have undergone major redevelopment in recent decades. Royal Victoria Dock is now home to Excel London, one of the largest exhibition centres in Europe. King George V Dock has become the grounds for City Airport. The Royal Albert Dock to the north of the airport is next
business leaders will be able to attend meetings in Paris, with chairs behind the desks here in London. When this complex is finished, there will be 20,000 people employed in this area. By really invigorating this area, bringing it up again, it really is going to be great.
Down below, the River Lee flows into the Thames Barrier the bank, after rising near Luton, 40 miles away. The lower River Lee Valley has a rich history of engineering innovation, with a more industrial achievement of its small geographical size than anywhere else in the world.
The history of this area, of course, has been about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who built the world docks. The lower Lee Valley is one of my just across the way here is where Brunel began to work on the docks. This place, of course,
invented a thing called the diode valve. All electronic gizmos we have today can be traced back to this single, simple device. The first jet airliner, the Comet, was built at Hadfield here in the Lee Valley. William I. Ferguson invented the first ever colour television. We have the Royal Small Arms Factory at Enfield, where the Enfield rifle was produced there. It wasn't Burton or Trent that made India Pale Ale. India Pale Ale was invented in London's Lee Valley by George Hodgson. So we've got a lot to thank the Lee Valley for.
Next to the Emirates Air Line terminal is the Crystal, a building owned and operated by Siemens that was designed to be one of the greenest in the world. The Crystal showcases sustainable development and contains the world's largest permanent exhibition of its kind.
We are in one of the most sustainable buildings in the world. It demonstrates innovative technologies to do with generating energy by solar and ground source heat pumps. Even the water of the toilets is being recycled. This exhibition showcases existing technologies and innovation, and also it stimulates discovery. It tries to make people imagine how their city might look by the middle of this century.
Thank you for flying the Emirates Airline. Exit here for the Expo Exhibition Centre, the Crystal, Royal Victoria Docks and the DLR.